And we are live. So, welcome to episode 261 of An American Werewolf in New Jersey. I am the American Werewolf. In the house tonight, we've got John K. Alvarez back. What is the back there for, John?
I don't know.
Okay.
John Alvarez is back. I have no idea where that came from.
His back hurts.
Sitting at my computer writing quietly.
Yeah.
And we've got Eric from Hey Internet. Eric here. Thank you for stopping in once again.
Yeah, good to be back.
Yeah, man. So I typically hate slasher movies. And I typically hate slasher movies because they're stupid.
Love it.
And if they're not
What you really
stupid,
think, Mike?
if they're not stupid, then they make 20 of the same movie in sequels that just completely dumb down every time that you watch them. I feel the same way basically about Blumhouse films, although I did go to see recently their latest effort with Wolfman, which was mixed at best. It had some potential, but there you go. However, in this case, if we're talking about Mike Flanagan, and he's doing a Blumhouse movie, I don't care if he's doing I don't know what, I'm going to watch it. And we're talking about Mike Flanagan's Hush. So if you're ready to go, shall we get it going?
Yes,
Let
sir.
us begin.
Boogie boogie. So at a streamlined 72 minutes, proving once again that less is certainly more. There's no shortage, I think, of Mike Flanagan fans here in this stream tonight. Let's start out with John K. Alvarez, who's sitting at his computer writing quietly. Keep your head on a swivel there, John. What did you think of just, the quick blurb that we always do? What did you think of the film? Had you seen it before?
No, actually, I'd never seen it before. This was the first time I actually saw it, and I was very surprised how much I liked it. And it was funny because you referred to it in the beginning, Michael, as a slasher film. I didn't see it as that. I saw it more as a suspense film, even though there was slasher moments in it.
Sure.
I thought it was actually very engaging and thrilling, unique in some points. Other points, I felt like, okay, I've seen this or in this type of format. But a lot of it actually really worked. I was impressed with the silence. And I really thought it was going to be a distraction or kind of even boring. But I was going, no, the silence not saying anything worked. In fact, I got a little, not annoyed, but I'm going, oh, just shut up. Sometimes when they were talking, just stop the dissertation, just go.
All right, Eric, what did you think? Yeah. Now you, of course, are a Flanagan veteran. I think you own this on Blu-ray.
Yep. It's kind of an unwritten rule here for me on the channel. If it's either Stephen King or Mike Flanagan, I'm going to try my damnedest to get on the episode. This is only the second time I watch it. Again, really, really enjoy it. It's not quite Dr. Sleep level, but it's not that same type of film. And I think I kind of agree with John. It's not really a slasher film in my opinion. It's more like a suspense home invasion, but that's good because in my opinion, I think that kind of subgenre of horror, to me, I mean, that's like my wife and I's go-to when we want to be like scared and tense when we're watching a air quotes horror film. We go for the home invasion because, you know, like The Strangers, like this, to a lesser extent, The Purge, you know, stuff like that, because it's more based in reality. You don't have some fucking silent masked killer like Michael Myers or somebody that you can't kill for 30 odd years, you know, stalking stupid teenagers. We have a smart protagonist, someone you know very little of, but her interactions with the characters on the screen are endearing. You don't want her to die, and I think the silence added to it, but it was great because it wasn't 100% silent. We still had a score, we still had the killer talking, and there were still little bits and pieces out there. Because I've said it before, like when it comes to silent films, I'm not a big fan. It doesn't keep my interest. But from beginning to end, my interest was kept with this one.
You could be right. Maybe it's not. It's certainly not your stereo. Like slasher films, unfortunately, now have devolved into franchises.
Yeah.
So the singular, you know, slasher film, you know, one and done. It really isn't that common anymore, unfortunately, because the idea, how can we capitalize on this success? Let's make something shittier. Okay, well, you know, and you know, people just, you know, here, shut up and take my money.
And cheaper.
Yeah.
Shittier and cheaper.
With a you know, a cast that, you know, just keeps getting worse and worse with every film.
Yeah, no kidding.
But you know, here we've got something that is interesting. It is a home invasion. There are no supernatural elements. And as we've said many times, what people do in real life is more scary than the supernatural. And there's a realistic element to this because you know that there are sick freaks out there that, you know, have probably done shit like this, you know, not necessarily in exactly the same, you know, attacking a deaf woman or, you know, a deaf mute or something like that. But there are sick people that just, you know, smash into your home. And, you know, I think of the
Night
guy
Stalker.
well, I think of that guy, serial killers, Night Stalker, you know, these sorts of things, you know, the Zodiac Killer. But I think of that guy from M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable that Bruce Willis has to fight and he almost drowns him. And he, you know, there's the flash where he just walks up to the guy's house and he's like, "Can I come in?" And the guy's like, you know, and as usual, unfortunately, nobody in this movie owns a Glock 34. Glock 32, excuse me. So, you know, you can't.
Well, it would have been a shorter movie, Mike.
You get this tap your knife against my window. Okay, well, I'm going to tap, you know, 40 caliber bullet, you know, and put it in your ass. But you know, that's not the way these movies are made. I think that one of the best ones, and I want to just briefly touch on this, is, and if anyone's had a chance to see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a great film of all things with Audrey Hepburn, and it's called Wait Until Dark. And it stars her and Alan Arkin. Alan Arkin, a very young Alan Arkin, and a little bit of an older Audrey Hepburn, and she's blind, and it's about a home invasion. They come in there thinking that there's heroin or there are drugs in her home, and there aren't. I think they're in the wrong home if I remember it correctly. And it's very suspenseful. And again, you know, you've got a blind protagonist trying to defend herself from these killers who have just suddenly sort of come into her home. And if you get a chance, it's definitely worth watching. If you ever see those greatest, you know, horror movies of all time, it's always listed in there. And it's worthwhile. But this has the Mike Flanagan, at least some of the usual suspects. You've got his wife, Katie Siegel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if he doesn't cast her, he's off to divorce court.
Yep.
So, it's like, hey, guess who's going to star in this movie again? I am. Okay, honey. So,
At least she's a good actress, so at least he's got that going for him.
She's very good. She's very good. It starts off where, I love that they're, just showing you, she's a writer. She's struggling. She's, very capable. She's got friends. She's got, a rocky, but at least, a somewhat existent love life. That guy's trying to FaceTime her. Right. And then about 10 minutes, you're thinking, well, this is a capable woman, capable person, so on and so forth. And then 10 minutes into it, all the holes in the armor, all the chinks in the armor are suddenly exposed because one, she's a deaf mute. Two, she can't hear her best friend being murdered 10 feet from her. Right. She can't see it or she can't hear it happening from the outside. And you're just like, that's a great fucking way to open up the shit hitting the fan.
Yeah, the friend's taken out within 15 minutes, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
And
I'm 13-minute mark.
I'm glad, the way it's done here, because it's I'm not gonna lie, it's a trope that I've always hated. Someone's getting killed in the background when the other person can't hear, like the scene in The Terminator, for instance. When the roommate's got the headphones on when her boyfriend is being brutalized, just something like that. But this is being done well because it's not stupid. Like I got my headphones on real loud, or it just happens to be soundproof glass or whatever. No, they do a good job of establishing how this protagonist is deaf. There is no way. There's no flashing lights outside. There's nothing to distract her because she's just simply walking from point A to point B as her friend is off to the side being thrown against the sliding door and being brutalized. And it's quick, but it's brutal. And again, you could tell that the shit's on, because if she can't see something that close to her, how this movie's going to go. This guy's eventually going to get in. You can put two and two together. He's eventually going to get in, and they're going to get nose to nose somehow without her knowing.
I thought that the guy who plays the killer, at first I thought he was really effective. And then I thought, well, he's playing with this food a little too much. And then towards the end of the movie, I'm like, wow, you just want this guy to die. So I had like an up and down, like a seesaw kind of reaction to him. What did you think of the killer?
What I thought? I'm not very established in this genre or this franchise, but from what I've seen, he kind of reminded me of like a James Bond villain. As the movie went on, he kept wasting time and like revealing what he's going to fuck. Like, how it's parodied in like Austin Powers, Mike. You know what I'm talking about?
Dr. Evil.
And, he's wasting so much fucking time when he could just, instead of jumping ahead and instead of just taking her out, he has to fuck around a little bit, and he found out. You know what I mean? I think if he would have just kept being as menacing as he was in the very beginning with the crossbow, instead of, like you said, playing with his food, I would have, air quotes, liked him more.
I felt he was an amateur. Like if he was a serial killer, it was the beginning of his because he was playing with it so much. He was making, for lack of a better term, to me, rookie mistakes instead of just getting in and there wouldn't have been a movie if he wasn't playing with his food, as it were, or the cat playing with the mouse. But there were things that he was doing. I'm going, oh no, dude, stop. It's you're playing, like as Mike said, you're playing with it too much now. The one thing that bugged me about it is, and it was weird, was the fact that I thought he took the mask off too much or too early to me as a character thing. I don't know why that bugged me, because I'm going, well, yeah, if she wouldn't know you could take the mask off because you're playing a killer. So why'd you have it on? Type deal. You could have just went up to the door like that guy did, and like you were saying, Mike, in Unbreakable, by just knocking on the door. I don't know why it was. To me, that was a little convoluted. I was like, either keep the mask on and do the Mike Myers, or take the mask off from the very beginning and see your face.
I think the way I took it is like at first he did. I don't think he knew she was deaf, and
Oh, I meant even with the friend, and killing her on the porch. He was planning on making the act of killing.
Right. I think he was wearing the mask.
Wouldn't matter if they saw his face.
Right. I think he was just wearing the mask just to be, scary, to be intimidated.
Could be. All right.
I think the reason why he took it off so early is when he found out she was deaf, then she could read his lips and what he's planning on doing, so he could have more fun with her.
Right.
Well, if you remember, I mean, she writes in lipstick, "I haven't seen your face. I won't tell anyone. Please leave." And so his removing the mask is saying, "Now you've seen my face. I'm going to kill you. Like you're not negotiating this." So I mean, the thing that makes him, it's not that he's a killer. It's that makes you despise him so much. It's that he's sadistic.
Yeah.
He definitely has, a sadistic streak in him. He wants her to suffer. He wants to intimidate her, and he tells her, when you finally wish to die, that's when I'm going to come in there and, make it happen. We've seen him before and covered him on the show before. John, I don't know if you remember. He was the guy in 10 Cloverfield Lane that was stuck in the bunker with John Goodman and the woman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, which is actually a really good movie.
I like him as an actor. I just thought it was a weird choice as a plot line.
No. We're just talking about the guy. I'm not even talking about the mask. But he put on a good performance. I think an even better performance was Kate Siegel's. Because she does it without speaking.
Yep.
Right.
The entire she's in almost every shot.
Just about, yeah.
She's in pretty much every shot for 72 minutes with no dialogue. I mean, maybe some sign language where she's mouthing some words in the very beginning. But otherwise is giving a silent performance, complete physical performance. Very impressive. I thought she was very believable. She looked scared. She looked frustrated. She looked confused, and then she switches at the end to, determined, with what little she has left. Kate Siegel, like Eric said, always gives a good performance.
Right.
This is no exception.
Go
ahead, John.
No, I was going to say, and one of the things that overly impressed me with the performance is that to make you care for a character like that, you would hear her talking or hear her, for lack of a better term, in some of these movies, praying to God or talking to herself. She made you care about her without saying a word. Yeah. And I loved that. She brought you into that world. And it was funny because I found myself not saying, "Oh shit, he's right behind you," out loud. It was more of like her being quiet made me be quiet, which made me concentrate on the movie more, type deal. I love that. It worked for me a lot.
That's an interesting point. I mean, you do kind of have to focus because there's not enough dialogue to carry you through. If you want to look at your phone or look at a magazine or a book or some shit somewhere, or you actually kind of have to. In that case, like the visualization becomes that much more important because I'd say you think this had maybe a third of the usual amount of dialogue or speaking that a standard film does. So 2/3 of that is just out the window. You're focused on, what's happening, in front of your face.
And one of the main things is you have to focus because when she does have conversations, there's subtitles because she's doing sign language while the person she's talking to is speaking. So, I mean, if you got your phone in, you don't know what Katie Siegel's saying to her sister or her neighbor or anybody, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And you can miss important stuff. And what I could appreciate with this is it focused on, but it didn't really focus on like this person, being a deaf person. Like, she just happened to be deaf. It wasn't like okay, she is deaf, so she's going to deal with it this way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. And I liked how endearing it was, with certain things where she's talking to her sister about going on fucking dating sites. You know what I mean? And she can't find anyone because she lives in the
Right.
stick. Or when she's talking to her neighbor, and
Mm-hmm.
just out of nowhere, and it's good little
Mm-hmm.
foreshadowing because the smoke alarm goes off.
Right.
We can hear how loud it is, and we can see the light because she left the roast
Mm-hmm.
or something, I think,
Mm-hmm.
in the
Yeah.
oven, and it starts smoking everywhere. So there's real good use of foreshadowing with little scenes like that because
Mm-hmm.
the smoke alarm comes into play during the finale.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And it wasn't just that. Even when she said, "I have to feel the vibrations
Mm-hmm.
from it," I thought we're probably talking about it towards the end of the talking about the end of the movie. But to find where the killer was at one point in time, she felt the vibration of his breath,
You're
which I
right.
thought was brilliant type deal. And for her, because I'm like, there were moments like that I sat there and was like, all right, this is not taking me out of it. This is bringing me in to it. I was buying it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was purely for her performance too. I saw when doing some research on the movie, there were some people that were complaining the fact they said, well, they could have gotten a deaf actress to do it. And which I can understand the point of view, but it's not that she wasn't doing it well. She played the part and brought you in, which is the job of the actress to make you care.
Correct.
And she did that incredibly well. And giving also credit to her husband, the director.
Yeah, Mike, I haven't seen a bad effort from Mike Flanagan yet.
Me neither.
We're talking about The Haunting of Hill House, which I recently rewatched.
Mm-hmm.
It's still great. The Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, which may be one of the best series I've ever seen. Have you seen that, John?
Not yet, but it's funny. I heard you mention it, and then I looked at the book she wrote.
Yeah.
Yep. You saw the title of the book?
Well, then there we go. I got to now go see it.
You've got to watch Midnight Mass.
Me and Mike did episode by episode live streams, and that was one of the most fun I've had for this channel because it sucked because Mike made the decision we're doing one episode a week, and I was just like, "Come on, man, I can't wait."
I don't mind the one episode a week. I really do. I kind of like that.
John, you and I grew up with one episode a week, so that was all you got. You got.
I did too, but it was just like, it was because this was so good. I wanted to hurry up and talk about it.
Oh yeah. And believe me, I understand that. I had I remember I'm trying to remember, I think it was Game of Thrones. Mike, my brother Paul.
Sure.
I never watched Game of Thrones. Sorry. Spoiler alert. I just never caught an episode. But I remember Paul saying, "What do you mean you're not watching the game? I want to talk to you about this." And I went, but I haven't seen it. I didn't, wasn't in the wheel. I'm watching a show called Paradise on Hulu.
Okay.
And that's episodic. It's coming out one show. And it's funny because I find myself looking forward to seeing if the show is shown so I can watch it. I mean, it's, I love that feel. And it's also a testament to the writing and the directing of those shows because they got to keep you interested to come back next week, as opposed to giving you something flashy and you go through it in a binge watch type deal.
The idea of I think the idea of the weekly episode is sort of making us a small comeback. If you're watching your series on HBO. Series are dropping on Hulu now, episodic. The new Daredevil drops tonight at 9:00. They're releasing only the first 2 episodes, and then it's going to be every week after that. I think it's only like 6 episodes, 6 or 8 episodes. It's a very short season. So that's kind of because what ends up happening a lot of times, like you watch a season of something, say on Netflix, people binge it in like 3 days. And then it's sort of out of the zeitgeist, and I think, for these companies to keep these programs, going longer, it keeps them in the conversation longer, it keeps the ratings going. I want to see some more. I come back next week. I want to see some more. I come back next week. So I think we may be seeing a return. And so people are going to either watch it episodically, week by week, or they're going to have to wait till the whole thing comes out and then binge it.
Right.
If you're a binger, because some people just are.
David Lynch did it with Twin Peaks, and I remember the first time when Twin Peaks came out in the 90s. The very first, it was like 7 episodes or 8 episodes. Hell, I was on a tour for a children's theater tour going out in the Midwest and the central states of the United States. When we got done, our bus driver said, "Look, I can keep driving. If you guys are willing to sleep on the bus, I'll get you home a day and a half earlier." And we were all kind of excited. One guy goes, "Dude, we'll be missing Twin Peaks, the final episode." And we all went, "No, that's okay." I mean, we literally just started right now. Now, we'll stay in the motel because we wanted to catch the end. That's again a testament to the director. David Lynch was doing that stuff. The guy for these movies, when he's doing Black Mass, from what I'm gathering from you folks, it's the way they tell the story. I think if you've been watching, it may have been, like you said, Mike, it leaves everybody's consciousness quicker. It kind of lasts with you more when you got to wait.
Yeah, I mean, like just recently, the final, I think they broke season 6 into 3 parts. Cobra Kai.
Right.
Like I forget, I was working remotely or something. I think I took a sick day. Like I got a bug. I killed the whole thing in like 6 episodes in like 2.5 hours. It's like watching kind of a longish movie, and that's it. It's gone, And so they talked about it that weekend, and now it's just it's out of the conversation. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. Like the way that they finally wrapped it up was great. But you watched it in 2.5 hours, and on to the next thing. So I mean, there seems like a time when maybe she's got to have a chance, with the neighbor coming by, the boyfriend, the husband, and you really hate him when he sticks that guy he just jabs at him like a little like a little weasel, he's like a little hyena, or just jabs him right in the neck, and you're like, fuck, man. It's and then she figures, well, I'm going to have to do this myself. I really did like the what if scenarios that she runs through into her mind. And when you first, I think, because this is 9 years old, so we're getting in the spoilers. It looks like she's getting her brains bashed in, and it's just a voice in her head that kind of takes her through scenarios.
And I love how they set that up in the beginning.
Yep,
I thought that was a great concept of foreshadowing, because when I first saw it, I'm going, all right, that's interesting, because that's the way when I write plays, I have different endings or whatever running through my head. So I got that, but then when they showed it, I'm going, well, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I love I'm sorry, when she spoke in those scenarios, and her mother, there was no excitement. It wasn't like it was being controlled by the imagery. It was her mind being calm. Okay, you can't do this.
Right.
And I love that too. That was a great touch for the character, the way she thinks.
That's kind of a trademark on occasion of Mike Flanagan, because in Gerald's Game, when Carla Gugino, she's handcuffed to the bed, and she's trying to psych herself up on the different steps that she needs to do to try to get herself unhandcuffed and off to safety. She does that as well. It's this not really monotone, but monotone emphasis on importance in her voice, and then that scenario doesn't work out. So then she's got to go back and rethink it, type of thing. So Flanagan throws that in on occasion.
There's a lot of inner monologue.
Yes.
They did it in Dr. Sleep. It happened a lot in Dr. Sleep. There was a lot of different ways of communication. I see what you mean about all these things being foreshadowing, but I think the sign of a really good director and a really good script is that it's not on the nose. Like,
you don't realize it.
If you see something, and we see this all the time in films that we watch, or they're not bad films necessarily, but let's say somebody's fighting and they drop something, and you see it fall down. Let's take Cycle of the Werewolf. All right, so let's take Silver Bullet.
Sure.
Okay.
So the werewolf attacks in the final scene, and they've got the silver bullet, and you see the silver bullet or some variation of this. It goes down into that little grate, and like it's so obvious and like on the nose, and they just keep focusing on the grate, and you're just like, okay. Or in a fight scene or something in another movie, somebody drops something and they just they shoot that for like 5 seconds, and you're just like, okay, that's going to come back up in about 10 minutes.
Right
here, it's so subtle, like you said, like the smoke alarm. Like I've forgotten about that. I've seen this only once before. I forgot all about that. And so when she hit him in the face with that alarm, I was like, that's fucking great. Like I was like,
you're getting pumped up.
Yeah, well, you son of a bitch.
Well, even when the boyfriend met the killer, when he was saying he was a cop, and all of a sudden the earring fell out.
Yeah.
Or and you saw the look on the boyfriend. He put 2 and 2 together, and it wasn't like lingering, like you were saying, Michael. It was simple. He looked, he recognized, and you saw by looking at him again, you fuck. I'm going to,
And there's not like a comfort or a moment where like the guy, the killer sees that he dropped the earring. It's just one shot, and that's enough.
Well, Clint Eastwood put it one time, ironically, because the more and more I see these type of movies, he reminds me a bit of Eastwood, the way he does his direction. Eastwood turned around and said, I don't treat my audience like they're dumb. I give my audience a lot more credit to be aware and catch things and be, to be paying attention to my movies. And I find that when I watch films like this, like Dr. Sleep was another one, and Gerald's Game he doesn't treat me stupid, which is what I kind of like. Not that I'm the brightest bulb in the chandelier, but the fact that I'm well aware of catching stuff on my own, and I go, oh shit, nicely done, type deal. He doesn't have to go, hi, here's a clue. I love that.
That's the sign of, a quality filmmaker. Now, this is the guy who's going to direct the next Exorcist film. I'm very excited for it. When I heard that it was David Gordon Green the last time, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like you're handing that fucking chimpanzee, a fucking maybe the greatest, one of the biggest franchises in all of horror, and you're handing it to that fucking guy, and it was exactly what I said it was going to be. I was like, holy shit. So, but now, I have faith in Mike Flanagan that, this is going to be something, man.
I think Flanagan's also behind. They're finally going to adapt The Dark Tower as a television series. I think Flanagan's at least a producer and a writer. I'm not sure if he's directing anything, but still. And Flanagan, he's got that love relationship with Stephen King property, so I'm very excited.
He does it right. I mean, we were talking about that on the site when we were talking about Stephen King movies. They're hit and miss. The ones who love Stephen King do the stories right, type deal. It's the ones that are saying, let's take the title and make it nothing like the story and market the hell out of it to make money.
The funny thing is, it's the horror community, so they'll go see it anyway.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's why I made that that joking comment. 12 Children of the Corn movies and 3 Manglers. Well. Yeah, they're made because you got people paying money to fucking watch them. Yeah, exactly. Like the horror community, it's blind loyalty, is how I term it. It doesn't matter if it's crap. They're gonna watch it. They're gonna buy all 12 fucking films on Blu-ray, and then when Arrow releases a special 2-disc edition in 4K, they're gonna so you can see that fart cloud nice and clean, Mike. They're gonna do it.
Yeah,
the blind leading the blind. I gotta tell you, it's just. But I mean, again, 50 years of Stephen King. you know,
Yeah.
in various, I mean,
In various formats, yeah.
a very successful franchise, his film and television adaptations, and some
Mhm.
are better than others. I tried to watch Storm of the Century the other day,
Mhm.
and it started about 5 minutes into it, and I'm like, I don't think I can. It's on Hulu now, and I'm like,
that's
I
too
don't know if
bad.
I can.
I really dig that one, dude.
Yeah,
Really?
I like
Okay.
it too.
If you can
It's
just
a good
tough
one
it
to
out,
watch.
once you get all the characters known, once everyone's stuck in the snow,
Mm.
it gets
Okay.
really,
Yeah.
really good. Give it a good
Actually,
half hour.
one of the actresses that are in Storm of the Century, she's the villain. Please forgive me for anybody who's watching this. She's the villain bitch in the movie Paradise that you want to shoot her. Type deal.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'll try. I got to get to it before the spring comes.
Yeah, you gotta watch
yeah.
when it's cold, man.
I haven't yet. Well, it's almost over because like we're hitting 60
Yeah.
degrees now. It's sunny.
I know.
So we're getting there. We're getting there, and we're like this zip, you know, down at cold at night, 60 degrees during the day. You know, you go outside and you're like, holy shit, I don't need my coat. So I
Same
gotta catch it
Trust
soon.
me.
because I gotta
Trust me, catch it to the second or the third episode when the villain starts getting more dialogue.
Mhm.
The villain's a great villain in
Yes.
Storm of the Century.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's just you wish that, and of course, this is a film that I've never seen anyone talking about.
Right.
You wish that we were, well, maybe we are to some extent, but I don't. Let me start over again. The horror genre is having an interesting time right now. Because if you're going to the movies, if you're seeing these sorts of films that are dropping all the time, and you're like, wow, these are not bad to really good movies. You know, so I was just about to say, I wish they were making more films like this, but they are. Like I just saw an interesting film. Actually, it was a really fucking good film. It wasn't interesting; it was really fucking good. Called Companion.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about that.
Yeah, and it's about in the not too distant future, people can buy a synthetic companion, and it could look like a Hollywood movie star, but and you've got this synthetic companion, and you can have sex with it, and be in a relationship with it, and whatever you want to do. And the synthetic is unaware that they're synthetic. It has like a pairing program, like you have with your phone, with like facial identification. So when you first when you first activate it, it pairs with you, and it has like one of 3 memories that it can select as to how you met. So maybe you met at a grocery store, or you met at a Halloween party, and it's programmed to remember you in like that way, and that's how you met. And it can't lie to you, and if you're tired of it, you can say go to sleep, and it'll just go like this, and and then you wake it up again, and it'll be, oh sorry, I took a nap, this sort of thing. And of course, people being people, they're using these things for all kinds of fucked up reasons. And this particular story is the companion is being used to commit a crime.
Right.
That they can then blame on the synthetic. Oh, the companion just malfunctioned, and so I can get while that's happening, I'm getting away with this thing over there. And it's like a genius fucking movie. And the girl who plays the companion is Sophie Thatcher from that show Yellow Jackets.
Okay.
She's from Yellow Jackets, and she just went nose to nose in that other horror movie with Hugh Grant.
I know.
Heretic.
Yeah, so she's another one who's coming up there. But there's just been a lot of these movies that I've been watching. I'm like, wow, horror's getting really fucking good.
The Substance, dude. The Substance. I keep telling people, if they haven't seen The Substance with Demi Moore, that's a fantastic body horror movie. And she was nominated for an Oscar. It was nominated for Best Picture. They won for Best Makeup, and it's such a fantastic movie. But it's not just horror; it's also about dealing with aging. Because Demi Moore is in her 60s, and she's now replaced for the younger, hotter, celebrity type thing. And it's really, really fucking good.
Right.
I saw.
But they're taking the good themes. That's a lot of the hard, and then we were just talking about it. They rehash it over and over and over and over again. They're even taking some older themes and then representing them, saying, "Well, why don't we try it this way that we couldn't do 20 years ago, 30 years ago?"
Soderbergh just did a film called Presence, with Lucy Liu, and it's from the perspective of the presence. So the camera angles are just fucking crazy, and it like jumps like it's in this house where this family lives, and you're not exactly sure why it's there until it's revealed why it's there at the very end.
Right.
And so, you know, if there's a family, maybe two people are in there in this one room over here, and then jump like the brother and sister are screaming and saying "fuck you" to, you know, teenage brothers and sisters, you know, are having this screaming match, and it's jumping over here, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic to watch. What else have I seen recently? There's another good, there's halfway decent, I gave it 3 stars, werewolf movie with Kit Harington, the guy who played Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, called The Beast Within.
Yep.
I saw an Irish horror film called The Damned, with the guy Rory McKen, who played the Hound in Game of Thrones, Nosferatu. I mean, there's just a ton of these fucking movies out here, and you know, not to mention what's going on with Oz Perkins, you know, dropping Long Legs and then dropping the Monkey, and it's not a bad time for horror. They're making these streamlined, short, 90-minute sort of films that are just really fucking good.
What I like to say, and I was going to say, is I'd rather watch one Hush, one The Substance, or even, you know, it's not that type of horror movie. It's more fun, but one Abigail over fucking 7 Screams. You know what I mean? They just confirmed that David Arquette's returning for Scream 7. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That dead horse has been beaten and then, you know, thrown in front of a truck. But like we said, you know, if it makes the money, that's why this stuff keeps churning out. But the fact that if we have someone like Mike Flanagan behind the camera and the people that he works with front, and then the same people writing, you know, with the pen writing those scripts, I'm not too worried.
Yeah.
It's just the problem is a lot of these things get swallowed because of everything else that's coming out. You know what I mean? When it comes to like these big franchises.
Well, it was like if you talked about it 10 years ago, a lot of people still would have said, well, horror movies are just cheap. And I noticed it about 10 to 12 years ago. All of a sudden, I'm like, wait a minute, there's a smartness to this. There's some intelligence behind it. And now you can honestly say between Perkins and Eggers, and there's a genuine love for the format.
Yeah.
They really do enjoy presenting it. You know, that type of deal.
Give me a story, which is what I've been talking about since episode 1. There was another one that I saw recently, or maybe last year, called Oddity. And it's about a murder that takes place, and this murdered woman's sister appears try to solve it, and she's an occultist, and so she's using her abilities with the occult to try to discern how her sister was murdered. It's really fucking good.
Right.
Okay.
Even like M. Night Shyamalan's Trap, it was just fun. But I mean,
that's what I meant with Abigail. You know, Abigail was a fucking riot, dude.
I loved Abigail, actually. I really enjoyed that.
I thought
now they're talking about, you know, I saw it during the Super Bowl. There's a commercial for Megan 2. You know, they're already bringing, and the rumor has it is she's going to be a hero now. Like they did in the Terminator, where the Terminator becomes a hero.
That's what happens when the killers get popular, dude.
Yeah, I'm like,
that's what happens. What?
No. Leave the villain as a villain.
Yeah.
You know.
Even the last, and this is kind of a franchise, but that last one they did with A Quiet Place,
right?
That was good. That third movie,
okay.
It's a prequel. It's kind of a prequel. What happens on day 1 through the eyes of, you know, these two people. It was. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then about 30 minutes into it, I realized what it was. I'm like, holy shit, this is really fucking good.
Okay.
So, you know, finally, someone seems, I don't know if it's osmosis for me, saying for 5 years now, please, let's start making some smart horror movies, but they actually are doing it.
It just tells you that they've been watching these 261 episodes, Mike.
Somebody has been. I mean, somebody. It must be like Eggers and Ari Aster and Oz Perkins. They're the five people right there. That's
shit. What the hell is Mike saying?
I know. What's he talking about this week? I gotta know. So I appreciate it. I gotta say, like I said, I pay $20 a month. For my Regal app, so I'm only paying 53 cents. So hey, let's fucking go, and I'm getting my money's worth because almost every weekend something is dropping that's worth catching,
You and me are wrestling fans, Mike. It's like how wrestling is. It just goes in cycles. You got the peak, and then you're down in the basement, and then it's just up and down. And I think like with wrestling is right now, we're at our high point. You know what I mean?
One of my favorite horror movies that I saw within the past I guess it's about a year and a half now, was Late Night with the Devil.
Yep.
I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. And people, when I was talking about it, I was so happy to find other people going, "Oh, you got to see that?" And they would talk about it type deal. And, Long Legs is another one this year that surprised the hell out of me how much I got into it.
I just saw, because I was looking this week, because I'm supposed to go see Queen of the Ring, and I bought my ticket for Friday, and then I realized I'm going to fucking SmackDown on Friday, so I'm like, well, I'm not going to get that. But I saw this movie that's getting ready to drop on Regal. Hold on, let me try to pull it up, and it's a horror movie that I'd never heard of before. Hold on a second, I'm going to find it. Fucking bastards, where are you?
It's called The American Werewolf in New Jersey. And
that is hard.
Comes up behind Michael.
That's certainly it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't turn around. Oh God, what's it called? The Rule of Jenny Penn, and it's Jeffrey Rush, John Lithgow, Ian, Thomas Sainsbury, and Nathaniel Lees. And it says confined to a this drops on Friday. Yeah. Confined to a secluded rest home and trapped within his stroke-ridden body, a former judge must stop an elderly psychopath who employs a child's puppet to abuse the home's residents with deadly consequences. That sounds really fucking good.
I saw a preview to that.
Text me that so I can look for previews, man.
I just saw a preview Jeffrey Rush. It looks great.
Jeffrey Rush and John Lithgow in a fucking horror movie.
I'm gonna take my money.
Hey, did you hear what's his face's Lithgow's in that adaptation to the Harry Potter books for
he's Dumbledore.
Dumbledore, yeah.
He's playing Dumbledore.
I saw what he said, and he goes, "This is going to be essentially the last thing that I do." Like this,
probably.
Yeah. He goes, "I'm very honored to be a part of it. That this is going to be my final." Because I mean, this is like a 10-year. This is like a 10, 12-year commitment.
Yeah,
he's making.
It's like Richard Harris when he was asked to do Dumbledore originally. He didn't read the books, and his daughter said, "Go talk to your granddaughter," who was reading one of the books, and he said, "Honey, you like that book?" And she said, "Yeah." And he goes, "They offered me to play Dumbledore," and the granddaughter literally, he said, looked up from the book and looked at him and said, "Grandpa, if you don't play this, I will never speak to you again."
Yeah,
and that's why he signed on for the commitment before he passed away. But it was, if you're at that age and you get that type of role, take it.
Hold on, Lithgow can play anything. That's the thing.
I agree.
He's been around forever.
And he's one
of those actors. Oh yeah, Raising Cain. Yeah, he was great in that De Palma
movie.
movie.
Did you ever see Blowout?
Not yet, no.
Brian De Palma.
But he's one of those actors that always
sneaks in that movie, and he scares the shit out of you.
He's one of those actors that he always sneaks in under the radar with these fantastic performances, but no one ever thinks of him. Like even the three of us, if we blurted out like our top 5 favorite actors, I guarantee we wouldn't think of John Lithgow until like after the fact. He's one of those type of chameleon type actors. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's that good, but he's just no one thinks about him, which is sad.
Exactly. Until you see him, and then you go, "Oh shit! I forgot how good you are."
Yep.
Hold on. I am seeing. I just put on the texting group the trailer for the Rule of Jenny Penn.
Mhm.
But I'm halfway tempted to see if I could play it here on X.
You'll definitely get copyright on YouTube. That's for sure.
Yeah, I might get copyright on YouTube, but I might be able to get away with it here on X. Hold on, I'm going to give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? I mean, they clip me, and I.
Thank you very much, folks, for enjoying the 261 episodes.
Yeah.
They're shutting us down, boys.
This is it. Hold on. Okay. All right, here we go. Can you see that?
Yes, IFC Films.
IFC Films.
Right,
I'm hiding my face so they can't recognize me.
Exactly. That's not John. That because your name being there will totally protect you.
No, it says John Alvarez back.
That's yeah. If you pull some idea, you can see clearly. Oh, sure, it isn't me. All right, here we go.
What? There you go. Shutter.
Oh, Shutter. Okay.
Ain't it strange? In this place of all places, here I am.
Ooh, that accent and those
Full
teeth.
alive. We all get what's coming to us at the end. You're not allowed to do this. Who rules? Jenny Penn.
Yeah. Oh, it looks good, dude.
Looks like a great musical. I tell you.
Fun for the whole family.
That's it.
That's the
Heck
sound
with
of
the
music
kids.
right
Bring
there.
Grandma.
All right. Is there any part of the film that we have not discussed that anybody here would like to get into?
Not really. Like I said, it does have a great score, which, like I said, that helped keep my. Not saying it's boring, but I made that the comment earlier how I'm not a fan of silent films. I try, and just music and the images just doesn't keep my interest. Like I've tried on multiple occasions, but that score is so good in this, like especially during that final act. You know what I mean? There's some really good action shots. I love the scene when she's on the roof and she just dodges that fucking when he's got the crossbow. Thank you. And she just falls down on her back. You know what I mean? But she's already got an arrow in her fucking leg. So that scene where she's in the bathroom and she has to pull her pants down. She exposes this wound, but she has to bite down on the towel as she's pouring the rubbing alcohol, and she can't scream, but she's still hitting the floor. Like these little things are like. My wife has seen this movie with me before, and she was jumping in and out watching as I was watching it for tonight. And she's like, "Oh, this is the one part I remember," because she's seen it once before. And I'm like, "That's the part you always remember, is just watching her go through this pain, but she can't make any noise, because he's right out there." So just little things like that.
When she gets her fingers broken.
Oh God, when her hand's stuck in the door and that motherfucker just stomps on it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. And what's good is what I liked what Flanagan decided to do. That's one thing, is he goes back and forth between noise and silence. Even though we're not deaf. You know what I mean? When he crunches her hand, with the foot, he curb stomps her foot, or he curb stomps her hand, basically, we're not hearing her scream. And I think that makes it more impactful, in my opinion. because you're just looking at this actress's
Right.
facial features.
Yeah.
And that's what brings out this
Mhm.
performance, because it's pretty much all body language.
Mm-hmm.
It's acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's acting. You know,
Mhm.
it's not. You know, I could do that. I just did it. See, there you go. John, or anything, anybody?
I actually love the fact that even though this was a two-person movie, the I don't want to say the extra characters because that's the wrong term, but the two other ones that
you're
were
right.
in there, and they weren't throwaway characters.
Right.
Like when her friend was attacked and everything else, I was genuinely shocked. I wasn't sitting there going, "Oh, of course, here it comes,"
Mhm.
you know. And then when her boyfriend came by, and spoiler alert for people who haven't seen it yet, when he almost defeats the villain,
Yeah.
and then and it was purely from the fact that because of the wound, he did. Part of me was cheering him on.
Mhm.
And I was going, and I knew in my head going, this is way too early for the villain to die. This is
Yeah.
way too early for the villain. But in my head, I'm like, break
We're
his
hoping-
fucking neck.
Exactly.
Kill him.
You know. And the thing was, but you also cared about him. And
Yeah.
he was in it, what, less than 5 minutes?
10 minutes.
If that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was like the way these weren't throwaway characters. When they were used properly.
Mhm.
And that really goes to the writing, goes to the directing, and goes to the acting of the two.
Yeah.
That, you know, you got that. You really gave even her sister.
Yeah.
Who kept calling her
Yeah.
squishy or scoochie, you know, type deal.
Yeah.
Busting her balls like a sister would.
Mhm.
Not giving a damn, you know, oh, don't pick on your sister. She's deaf and a mute. Yeah, fuck that, mom.
Yeah.
Hey, squish it. What the hell are you doing? You know,
Right in
like
the neck, you know?
a sibling would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when she goes, who's that with you? I thought I saw somebody.
She's genuinely
I-
concerned.
When
Yeah.
I watched The Monkey, I saw another review on there. A lot of The Monkey was about brothers tormenting each other, or at least one brother tormenting another brother, especially in the young, in the growing up age, you know, in that, you know, as teenagers. And there's a guy did this review, and he goes, it gave me fucking flashbacks. He goes, because I had a brother that was about 4 years older than me. And he goes, I remember growing up with him. He goes, now he's in his late 40s and his brother's in his early 50s. And he says, I remember my brother would wake up in the middle of the night and have to blow his nose. And he would reach over and grab my fucking covers and just blow his nose, like right in my fucking
Right.
cover.
Ah.
And I'm like, you motherfucker. You're like, I'd kill somebody for that if they did that to me. With like a close camera, like in Hush, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah, it's just, it's fucking siblings.
But that's the point. That's the point. The way they portrayed it, it worked. I mean, it
Yeah.
was, and it added to the story. Wasn't like, okay, let's put this in for comic relief,
Yeah.
you know, so to speak.
All right, let's get to the part in the stream where we rate the film. This channel has a rating system that goes by halves from 0 to 5. So 0 is 0.5, 1, 1.5. So 0, for example, would be I'd rather substitute dandruff instead of sugar for my coffee, all the way to 5, which is this is the journey, this is the destination, this is why I watch films in the first place. John K. Alvarez back, not to be confused with John K. Alvarez, the law-abiding citizen who never watches you know, copyrighted trailers. What did you think of Mike Flanagan's Hush?
Well, considering my dandruff is sweet because it comes off of me. That's
one way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, when I first saw it, I was going to give it a 3.5, but talking about it and still thinking, I'm giving it a solid 4.
Okay.
It wasn't perfect, no. And that's purely for me because there's a couple of stuff I kind of second guessed and was like, okay, that happened. But that's me being nitpicky.
It's hard to do something
really good.
It's hard to do something like this completely original.
Right.
Because it's kind of been done, you know, so many times. You have to acknowledge some of the tropes.
Oh yeah, but if I don't know if I'll go and see it again, because I probably will, but it won't be first on my list to see again. Or if I walk into a room, it's on, I'll say, "Oh, that was good."
You could see
And
yourself recommending it to someone, tell your sister,
I'll
tell
recommend
your
it to a lot
brother,
of people I
nephew.
know
Yeah.
and say, you should go and see this. This is actually really, really good
Yeah.
type deal. Was it perfect? No, but I'll give it a 4, a good 4.
All right. Eric, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I think 4 is very fair. I don't know if we rated Doctor Sleep at that time. If we were doing ratings, Doctor Sleep would have been a 5 for me. That's perfect Flanagan for me. But a 4 is not bad. Great performances, like you said, acting, because she doesn't have a lot of dialogue. Hit and miss a lot of times, like we said, with the killer, because he played with his food too much. But you cared about everybody that wasn't the killer. You know what I mean? Even the secondary characters. Maybe on par as, if we're talking Flanagan, on par as excuse me, Gerald's Game. Maybe Gerald's Game I would put a little bit above it, but I think a solid 4. Again, like I said, home invasion movies are mine and my wife's go-to when it comes to horror movies, because that's where we get. Like, I could put on a fucking Friday the 13th movie and not pay attention because it's the same fucking thing. I don't feel the intensity. I don't feel the stress. If we're sitting down, we're watching a home invasion movie, I feel the stress because of the reality of it. We are those fucking psychopaths out there, that could do this.
If you get the opportunity, catch that Wait Until Dark.
Wait Until Dark.
Yeah, right there. That's the one with Audrey Hepburn.
Okay.
Alan Arkin. That is
really good movie.
Yeah,
that's really is a really good classic
really
movie.
Good movie. Yeah, about a home invasion with a blind woman.
Okay.
So maybe this was Flanagan's nod to that. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. It's just like when it comes to home invasion movies, that's what scares us the most, because Mike, again, we'll bring up wrestling. Rhea Ripley had her problems with people fucking showing up at her doorstep. We've seen so many actors and actresses, sadly, at times lives taken because people showing up at their doorsteps. That's what's scary to me. And this is something that could happen. The strangers, that makes a good horror film. Solid 4.
Right.
Unless you can afford celebrity level security, my strong suggestion is to get yourself a firearms permit and alleviate yourselves of this particular anxiety. So when someone comes knocking on your door with a crossbow, you can knock right back at them with something with a bit more
well
kick.
I will say this, kind of a nod to what she did to protect herself. I do keep a can of Hornet spray by my front door.
That is always effective as well, and make sure there are batteries in your fire alarm in case you need to disarm. Because all right, yeah.
And if not, man, always have hairspray and a lighter.
Yep.
Aqua, that's my favorite, the purple can. Not the
make sure the hotspot on your phone is always working so that you can get a signal and FaceTime somebody. Yes, okay.
There you go.
For myself, I'm going to give it a 4. I feel it's a very solid 4. I cared about everybody I was supposed to care about. I hated everybody that I was supposed to hate. It's a very simple story. It's a very simple story. But I was invested 100% of the time. I very much appreciated the fact that this wasn't even an hour and 15 minutes. This was a 72-minute film.
Yeah.
And so it's very streamlined. Very compact. There's no fat on it where you're like, hey, why is this in here? Everything mattered. Strong performances, a sufficient amount of graphic violence without it being gratuitous. Maybe one scene here, with the crossbow, one scene there, with the hand, one scene in the very beginning with the friend at the glass door. The idea that they are, again, attacking someone who has a physical handicap is not something that's touched on very much in this particular genre. It's usually teenage girls, taking their tops off, this sort of thing. This actually had to lend its weight or lean on the performances and actual acting, including the killer. Who was not a flat character. He's just a sick bastard.
Yeah, he had a personality.
And it was a disgusting personality, but a personality, and I was okay with it. So I'm going to go a 4.
And let's give it a quick shout out to the cat.
You know
We
something?
completely ignored the cat.
You know something? When that bastard pulled that knife on that cat, I'm like, you son of a bitch. You know,
Yeah.
you're gonna
That's
kill that
exactly what I
fucking-
was thinking.
Yeah.
You motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna kill the fucking cat, you lower than
You know.
low bastard. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing worse if it was a dog. But
There is a fantastic movie that I would love to cover with all of you at some point, but I don't know who could access it. Called The Innocents, and it is
on the cover alone, I want to see it.
it's like it's a Danish movie,
Okay.
and it's essentially like Brightburn, but it's not an action movie, and it's about children that have developed powers living in this apartment complex, and one of them goes very, very bad. Very
okay.
And there's only one scene in there that it involves, and it's a Danish movie, so they show it. And we just talked about this on American Psycho the other day with the dog. There's a scene of animal cruelty in there.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it like cements that you just fucking hate this one kid.
Oh God, yeah.
You evil little fucking little narcissistic demon fuck, you know.
What's the name of the movie again, Mike?
The Innocents.
Gotcha.
Okay, I'll look into it.
I'll look into it.
If you can find it. I've wanted to cover this on this show for a long time. I think I saw it once on Shudder, because it was on Shudder, and I was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh my God!" And like all the other kids, there's a limited number of the kids that can do this, and the other kids realize they have to do something about this other kid.
Right.
Like, this is getting bad, and it's funny because it happens within the world of children. So like the parents aren't paying attention. They're small children. They're small children. I think everybody.
It looks like it's on AMC Plus, Amazon Prime with a subscription, or you can rent it for $3 on Fandango. But I'm sure I can find it if you know.
What's his name? There was a movie I thought it was supposed to come out last summer, and I could have been wrong. It was a movie about a monster in a town during the summer. And it was a bunch of kids that were trying to figure it out because the adults weren't paying attention. And the reason why I don't think I can't remember the name, but the reason why I don't think it got much attention because the only adult that paid attention to it, because it came around when he was a kid, it's played by Mel Gibson type deal. So anything,
It
just
came out last year.
But it's like a comedy. It's kind of like a horror comedy. Yeah.
That's what I sat there and I said, I love the fact when they bring kids in. I just saw the New Mutants finally. It was one of the things
about a horror movie.
Yeah, it was more of a horror movie than a superhero movie. It reminded me of Brightburn.
This is
the
better
sense
than
of
Brightburn.
It's the same one. The same people that were in that are out now doing movies all the hell over the place. But I love the fact when they bring that in because that's to me is what worked in the first or in the book and in the first incarnation of it was that the first half was about the children, just so to speak. Ironically, when they got older, nobody gave a shit.
The Mel Gibson movie that you're talking about is actually called Monster Summer.
Yeah, Monster Summer.
Yeah. Came out 2024, September.
All right.
I just knew I missed it.
We're stretching out a little over an hour. I'm going to try to get to a little bit of Daredevil. I don't know if I'll be able to catch both episodes. I don't know how long they're running, but I'm going to try to catch them right now.
Priorities.
John, you got anything you want to plug?
Not this week. No, man, I'm cool.
All right. Eric, what do you got for us?
I'll make it quick so you can watch Matt Murdock. Hey, Internet, Eric here. It's a YouTube channel. Every month this year, I have a theme of the movies I'm going to discuss. This month is Monstrous March, so it's nothing but monster movies. Aside from some films that Mike would not be caught dead watching, I'm also going to be discussing the original Godzilla. If you've never seen it, the Japanese version. I'm also going to discuss the American version, compare and contrast. King Kong, Mike, you said that counts technically as a monster movie.
Which one? The original? The 1933?
Yes, the original. At least I'm going to do the original. The other ones are like 2.5 hours, and I don't know if I can do that, with my work schedule. Mimic is one because I know you guys really enjoyed Mimic. I'm going a lot of old school. You can't, when you're talking monster movies, one of the originals, I'm going with Karloff's Frankenstein and The Bride and I might sprinkle in American Werewolf and other things like in there in between.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Hey, if you get a chance for your mob movies, if you have an opening, did you ever see Miller's Crossing?
Mm-mm.
It's a Coen Brothers film before Fargo.
Okay.
It's about the Irish mob in the 20s.
Okay.
Albert Finney is the Don. Gabriel Burns is the main character.
Wow. Okay.
It's a hell of a movie, but it's based on the Irish mob.
Okay.
Type deal. Really, really good. Very underrated. Came out like 91, I think, or 90. But it really, Marcia Gay Harden's in it too.
Okay.
And it's a really, really, and it's an early Coen Brothers flick. Really good.
Right.
And Albert Finney will scare the shit out of you with a Tommy gun.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
All right. For this channel, I just released every weekend now. I'm going to be doing a Sunday video for the weekend box office numbers because I'm going to the movies all the time these days. And I figured, what the hell? Let's see what's going on this weekend. I just dropped on. It will be every Sunday. I just dropped this past week's. Looks like Captain America stays at #1, but it made like $6 million. So it's pretty much petered out. I don't think it's going to break 400 million. We'll see how it goes. The Monkey, I think it dropped like 50% or something like that. But it's in the land of profit. So it's Oz Perkins is going to be busy for a while. Thursday, this coming 2 days from today, we will be here with an appreciation stream for the late, great Gene Hackman, who unfortunately passed away under circumstances that have yet to be revealed. It's very tragic, but he was 94 years old, one of the best to ever do it in front of any sort of camera whatsoever, and I'm sure on the stage as well. So everybody that comes on will select one movie of his, and we will talk about that, and just open discussion and go from there. I don't know what's going on this weekend. I don't know if there'll be. I want to go see Queen of the Ring. Queen of the Ring drops this weekend.
I want to see that movie.
Yeah, with Deborah Ann Wool. That looks really good. And then,
Mm-hmm.
of course, the movie we just showed the trailer for, The Rule of Jenny Penn. So those both dropped this weekend. So I don't know if I have time to see two movies this weekend. And if I don't, I don't know which one I'm going to pick. But it might be Jenny Penn. It might be Jenny Penn, Lithgow, and Jeffrey Rush. Yeah.
I did read, I haven't read any reviews, but I did read that Jim Cornette has a cameo in Queen of the Ring as Sam Mushnick, a promoter.
He does. Yeah, I saw the previews.
I don't doubt it. I'm sure there may be a couple of cameos. I'm always cool with it.
There's like a 3-minute or 3.5-minute preview out of it that showed pretty much. Took me a while to recognize it was the actress from Arrow because their hair being brown.
Okay.
Right
there. Okay. All right. That's the stream for tonight. My thanks to John K. Alvarez, back, law-abiding citizen, sitting at his computer writing quietly. My thanks to Eric from Hey Internet. Eric here. We will see you all in the next video. All right. Take care, everyone. God bless you.
Good night.
Cheers.
Good night. Hey, everybody. This is the American Werewolf. Thanks for stopping by. Like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button. Thank you.